We live in apocalyptic times, a turning point in planetary evolution. Excerpted from the writings of Paul Brunton. New forces have entered the planet's atmosphere, which will increasingly bring powerful inner and outer pressure to bear on its inhabitants because the ego is destined to evolve in a different direction. The ego will return closer and closer to its center, the overself, and it will do this partly because planetary evolution has reached a point where it will enforce it. We are only at the very beginning of it now, although in a half-dozen centuries this result will have been achieved to such an extent all over the world as to be quite unmistakable. It is because humanity is approaching the threshold of a new era, a better era, that all the devils of the old era put forth their fiercest efforts while there is yet a little time to degrade human character, to drag it down into the hells of the worst forces and emotion: hate, envy, aggressiveness, and brutality. There are evil forces outside people as well as inside. These superphysical agents operate in the invisible world and under certain abnormal conditions intermingle with living human personalities. The dark forces have sought to prevent the emergence of a more enlightened era. They tried to do this through the virulent and violent Nazis. They will try to do it again. The realignment of the Nazi-minded and their antagonists will now take place in a lesser form inside many countries. Unless humanity recognizes that demonic powers are loose in its midst, are inspiring hatred, violence, suspicion, and greed, it will not go down on its knees to ask for help from a power greater than and beyond itself. Nature might take a hand in the game. More people were slain just after the First World War by the influenza epidemic than were slain during the 4 years of that war itself. When nature's violence, as in earthquakes and cyclones, is so great, or when fate's blows are so hard as to make people feel their littleness and helplessness, the instinct to turn to the higher power, in resignation or petition, arises spontaneously. A failure to return to a truer spiritual basis for life quickly enough will bring terrible catastrophe. Nevertheless, all events will be used in the unfoldment of the divine world idea, and all will work out for good in the end. Trust the divine wisdom. It never makes a mistake, and its hidden purpose is utterly beneficent. There are healing, restorative, guiding, and protective forces amid us even today, trying to reach the human race and to penetrate the dense, dark conditions surrounding it. If they are recognized and received in time, it will be saved from a frightfully destructive event. If we want to see a better world, we must make a contribution to it, and this demands inexorably that we begin with ourselves. The education of human intelligence, the culture of spiritual intuition, and the ennoblement of character are necessities, since it is they, together, that stand between humankind and catastrophe. Some pray for peace. Beneath it all, they are really asking for mercy. Yet the majority of people show no mercy to the animals that they pay to have slaughtered for them. If we want mercy, we must give it. That is the law of karma. Also, if there is so much friction, violence, and tension in the world, it is only because so many individuals are inwardly experiencing these things. They fill the world's aura with bad thoughts, which, if sustained, prolonged, and strong enough, break out of the physical level into undesirable or evil happenings. If there is so little peace in the world, it is only because there's so little real peace in the individuals who live in the world. The evil you have no opportunity to fight in the larger world outside. You have every opportunity to fight in the smaller world inside yourself. Among the negative emotions, we must include prejudice and bias, arrogance and vanity, cowardice and moral weakness, excessive or constant criticism, pride, and conceit. Evil is strong in the world, and sometimes people who aspire to the good become discouraged and depressed. Faith in the divine power is a protective talisman. Whenever you are in difficulty, drop all fear and trouble temporarily from your mind and imagine yourself handing them over to your higher self, thereby surrendering yourself to its will, help, and protection. Strive to keep open the inner channels of inspiration, protection, and guidance from the divine power. Even 2 or 3 minutes thought of it each day will be a help in this direction. The importance cannot be overestimated of a simple, recurring remembrance of the Overself and the spiritual guide. It is a yoga path of its own. However dark or desperate world history may seem at times, we must always remember no one can disrupt the divine world idea, or spoil its manifestation, or prevent its glorious outcome.